The Chosen Argumentative Essay Writer Workshop number 2. Today we're going to be discussing the formation of your main body paragraphs and your refutation. This worksheet to the left here is the one we've already completed. It was due for you last Friday. So you know the prompt that you've chosen. You have your 3 main arguments. From there, you created a beautiful thesis. You might be tweaking your thesis a little bit, and that's okay. Today, our focus is this worksheet over here. And we need that original worksheet you did on Friday in order to complete that worksheet. So the first thing you're going to do is take the thesis that you currently have and transfer it onto this new worksheet. Again, if you need to be messing with your thesis a little bit all the way up until your rough draft, that's just fine. You can ask me for help if you need to, and we can wordsmith together. Okay, so we are on this second worksheet, Argumentative Essay Structure, the essay outline. Your thesis should be done, or at least nearing its completion. So here's my thesis from last week. The reader's understanding of the Jewish culture in its larger historical context is the main theme of the novel, The Chosen by Potok. If you remember, the prompt I chose was dealing with the small group society in mainstream culture. That's the one that I particularly chose, so there is my thesis. Now from that first worksheet, I'm also going to transfer over my 3 main arguments. Again, if you're wordsmithing a little bit here in transferring from one worksheet to the other, that's just fine. We want to make sure that my 3 main arguments are in fact in my thesis. This is something we worked on last week, but let's go ahead and just make sure that it's all there. So here, that first one is talking about the reader in particularly, and in that paragraph I'll be discussing the author's goal for the reader. The next one deals with that Jewish culture and that Jewish tradition, making sure that that is a main theme, and I'll make sure to discuss that in paragraph number 2. And in paragraph number 3, I'm talking about that mainstream society and how it's affected and how that affects the storyline and so forth. That a lot of the historical context will come out in my argument or main body paragraph number 3. Okay, so just remember that your thesis answers the prompt and it addresses your 3 main arguments. That's what your thesis needs to do. Answer the prompt, address the 3 main arguments. From there, you'll notice that larger box. That is meant to be our introduction paragraph. So above our thesis, we will offer a hook, we'll offer a narrative, and we will offer a funnel-in statement that brings us to our thesis. Many times that 3-point thesis you probably wish you could do, that could work quite nicely as a funnel-in statement up in front of your thesis. So just a heads up there, that might be a good way to do it. Next, we're going to look at quotes. So this is the main part of your essay. This is your 3 main body paragraphs. For each of your arguments, you need to find 2 quotes in the novel that support that particular argument. So for argument number 1, or body paragraph number 1, importance of Jewish community for the author, the reader, and the historical context, I'm going to go and I'm going to find 2 quotes that support that particular argument. And I'm going to make sure that I explain the quote and then I offer my analysis or my opinion on how that quote supports my argument. I can't just summarize the quote. I need to give an analysis. I need to give an opinion on how it supports the argument. It's a lot of areas where we're not getting full points when it comes to our quotes. So work on that with this particular essay. So this is the main part of the essay, your 3 main body paragraphs. I can't go into more detail about it in the lecture here because this work is largely done on your own. So that's what you're going to be working on, coming up with your 2 quotes. Make sure that your 2 quotes support your arguments well, and let's move on to our next step. The next step is that refutation. To refute means to offer an argument against. That's what the refutation paragraph is all about. The action of proving a statement or theory to be wrong or false. So the intention of an argumentative essay is to persuade the reader to your side of the argument. However, a good argumentative essay will include a paragraph with a concession statement. This statement will concede to the other side of the argument. The concession statement should be that first statement, or at least the first two statements within your refutation paragraph. This is body paragraph number 4. Once you concede to the other side, then you refute it. You go against that counterclaim and you give specific evidence. So that's where the refutation comes in. You're arguing all along, for my example, I'm arguing all along that mainstream society or small groups in mainstream society is the most important thing. Arguing it. I get to my 4th body paragraph and I have to concede to a different theme. So I can concede to, okay, friendships is a strong theme. Or I can concede to fathers and sons is a strong thing. I give a nice statement as to why it's a strong theme. I give them lots of support. I give them lots of help. And I make a nice bold statement. And then I refute the statement that I just made. That's how your refutation paragraph works. Okay, so let's see how this is done. So refutation, offer a concession statement, then refute that concession statement or refute that counterclaim. You need 2 quotes here to support. So here's the concession statement. I'm going to concede to the theme of friendship, and I might say something like this. The theme of friendship is woven throughout the message of the novel The Chosen as well. Potok shows the importance of friendship as Reuben and Danny's characters are challenged and matured as a result of befriending one another. I could go in further detail here if I wanted to continue discussing friendship, if I wanted to make it stronger. I will say right now, writing this really quickly, that's not a very strong concession statement. I can definitely make that much stronger. Once I get that concession statement done, then I'm going to refute it. So to refute it, the friendship formed between Reuben and Danny is brought together and further strengthened due to their spiritual connection of Jewish faith. Without cultural ties of their Jewish heritage, their friendship would not have been formed. So I'm basically refuting the fact that yes, the friendship is a very important thing, but they never would have been friends if they weren't even Jewish in the first place. Okay? And then I'm going to offer some quotes to support that refutation. Okay, so this is what the assignment is for the next couple days. This particular assignment is going to be due on Wednesday. What you're doing is you're working on this worksheet. You are transferring over your thesis, which should already be done. You're transferring over your arguments, which should already be done. And the most work here that you need to be working on, due Wednesday, is finding those quotes. What quotes are going to support each of your arguments? You may want to fix some of your arguments. You even may want to fix some of your thesis. Find some really nice quotes to support what you're trying to argue. Figure out what you're going to refute. Which side of the other themes are you going to choose? What side of the other argument are you going to choose? Give a nice concession. Give them their statement, kind of like what we did when we do our philosophical chairs, and you pick one side and then I force you to concede. Concede with a nice strong argument for them and then refute that concession. So that's what your work is for Wednesday. Start working on it today, especially finding those quotes. They will take you some time, and get this into Google Classroom. Okay, there you go. Writer's Workshop number 2, done.